But I have a request. Tig, I think you missed your calling. You should be in neurosurgery. We want you and we want your cat. We want it right away in the OR. I mean, can I speak for the Department of Neurosurgery and say she would fit in perfectly? Perfect. And that's what we need. That's what we need in the OR to save lives. And Tom, and forget about you. You're earnest, and you would keep us on the straight and narrow. So we want you too. In fact, I'm going to move Guy out of the office suite next to me. I'm going to put you two guys. So, in any event, obviously I'm here because of you, and I'm very lucky because tonight the people who mean the most to me are in this room, and it's my family, it's my teacher, it's my colleagues who happen to be my best friends, it's my patients and their families and their supporters. And I'm extremely grateful to have an opportunity to help promote the VHL Alliance so that somebody like me can put down his tools and move on to the next challenge. I was thinking this afternoon when Guy was asking me, what are you going to say? And I said, I just kind of wing it a little bit, and I came up with a concept, so I'm going to let it fly. And I know my colleagues are probably walking out of the room now because they do a lot of this at work. But I think it should start with family, and I'll start with my wife, Elena, who I've known since senior year in high school. And I was kind of interested in the 70s, and I knew her brother because we played sports together. And I wanted to take her out to the movies before we were married, and he said, she loves romantic comedies. What movie should I take her to see? And my brother-in-law, I guess he was trying to get rid of me. He said, take her to see Jaws. It was 1975, the first summer Blockbuster. And I did. And I thought about Jaws a little bit, and the start of our relationship, not really a romantic comedy, obviously. I'm not very clever at these kinds of things, but there's something about that story, that pertains to what's going on here tonight, because that's a story that's been told in every culture and every time in man. It's a story about overcoming the monster, right? And the monster in this particular case happens to be a shark. But if you haven't seen the movie, it's okay, because these monsters that man have been dealing with have been with us for all time. You can name your monster. It could be Grendel. It could be a vampire. It could be Frankenstein. I guess right now it's very popular. It could be Godzilla. It could be zombies. Very popular right now. But the story always has this format. It's one of the 7 basic plots. There's a monster and there's a hero. And everybody knows the monster, right? The monster's hidden from sight. It migrates all over the place. It wants to reproduce. It represents a mortal threat. And unfortunately, it's equal measure cunning and cruel. And it applies to all monsters. And in this particular movie, there's one scene that reminds me, or I thought could remind me a little bit of this evening tonight, although this is very elegant. And I'm thinking about that scene where, before the shark has really attacked the boat, where the 3 main characters of that movie are present. And I'm thinking about that Robert Shaw, who plays Quint, and Richard Dreyfuss, who plays Hooper, and Roy Schneider, who plays Captain Brody. They're sitting in their boat, and Quint is the person who you call when you need to kill a monster. He knows how to find one, and he knows how to kill one. But you never really want to see him at any other time. And Hooper, he's the marine biologist from the Oceanographic Institute. He wants to study the monster because he thinks by learning about it, he can tame it or control it. And Brody, of course, he's the hero in this story. He hates the water, he hates boats, he knows nothing about sharks, he wants nothing to do with any of this. But they've just finished a dinner and they've had a couple of drinks, and Quint and Hooper are sitting there, a little bit of drink going on, and they start telling their stories of dealing with the monster, how they fought sharks in their careers. And they do more than tell the stories. They roll up their sleeves and they roll up their pant legs, and they show each other the physical scars on their body of having to deal with the monster. And the face of Captain Brody, it's the face that has, it's the hero with 1,000 faces. I've seen that face in my office at Columbia for the last 25 years. He wants nothing to do with the monster or these people. He just wants out of the situation. So, in this particular situation, the hero is the key. And And when I think about what it is to be a neurosurgeon, to go out and hunt and kill these monsters, and to work with researchers who are trying to understand the monster, and the heroes, what they want to do is get away from the monster, get out of the boat, leave the ocean, go home to their beautiful wife. That's what I actually see. And I know it seems trite, but it's true. And because of that, you know, there's a cultural meme. Brody, he doesn't have the scars yet. He doesn't have a story. He's gonna have it. Just like my patients that I see in my office. They're gonna have a story to tell, and they're gonna have scars on their body. But he has a great insight. And you know the insight, it's a cultural meme. He says when he sees the shark for the first time, maybe like the first time you see your MRI scan, he says, we're gonna need a bigger boat. And you know, that's why we're here tonight. We're here to buy a bigger boat for Manuel, so we can get him out of the boat, get him out of the sea, and get him home so he can be with his beautiful wife. So with that, the office is there for you and your cat. We're ready to go. Tom, you're going to keep us on the straight and narrow and measure how good we are. And thank you very much for letting me be here tonight.